Hi, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to create an email newsletter using the information you've customized and personalized on your print newspaper newsletter template. So it's super easy. If you want to follow along with me while you're creating your own, feel free to do so. I'm just going to jump in here and create one really quick and explain the steps I'm doing as I'm doing them. So I opened up my newsletter template, and it's the one that I have already personalized with my own information. I put in my testimonial and all my information here. So this is ready to go. But now I want to create this into an email newsletter. Really simple. All I need to do is go back to my home tab here. And again, the cool thing about Canva is because it's internet-based, once you're at home, your designs are just going to be popping up into separate tabs. So you can always hop back and forth between them, which is really awesome and is going to come in handy for what we're doing in this video. So I'm going to go up here to the top right and click Create a Design, and I'm going to search for email newsletter. This is going to give me a rather large size, 8.5 by 11 inch, if I were to print it in a PDF. But we will be making this into an image to put into our email. So it's going to be a rather large one, which is going to be awesome. We won't be able to grab all the information from the newsletter for email, but I think that's fine. We're just going to grab our most favorite parts or whatever you think your clients would like to read about or learn about the most. And we'll just recreate one here. So I have my e-newsletter here, and I'm going to make sure to rename this because this is going to rename my tab, and that's going to make it a lot easier when I know what I'm jumping back and forth from. So I'm going to go into my April newsletter and start grabbing things that I want to put on my email one. So the first thing I want to do is grab this header. I think that's going to be a good way to start it. So I'm just going to, sorry, as I did that, I'm just clicking my mouse and I'm dragging over the elements I want. So I only want this header, so I've got those. And now I'm just going to hit Control C on my keyboard. So just like you're copying on any word processor or email, and now I clicked over to the tab for the email newsletter, and I'm going to hit Control V, and that's going to bring it over. Awesome. So because we're kind of in a big space here, this April 2021 looks a little small. So I'm going to click into it again. And I know this is all grouped because I've got the box around it, the dash box around it. And up here, it says ungroup. So I know those are grouped together. So I couldn't get into April 2021 and make it larger on its own. So I need to ungroup it. So I'm going to click the ungroup button right up here. And then you can see everything becomes its own element. So I'm going to click out of it so everything goes away, and then I'm going to click back onto this text box. And I'm just going to make it larger by simply pulling on the white circles here. I'm going to line that up as best as I can, and that looks great. Perfect. Okay, so we've got that. Now I'm going to go back into my newsletter. And I think a great thing that I want to include is this little bit that kind of tells the narrative of the market. I think that that's going to be very helpful for my sphere. So I'm just going to grab that again by clicking and dragging over all the elements I want. And then I'm doing Control C again, clicking back over to my e-newsletter, and then Control V. Awesome. So I've got this, and I'm going to click out of it and then go back and look, and everything is ungrouped because everything was ungrouped on the previous design. And then as soon as you drag, grab, copy, paste, then those go back to how they were in the previous design. So now I know I can get in here and play with all of these because I'll have to adjust it. So I'm going to get rid of this line because I already have that line, so I don't need that. I'm going to move this up. That's perfect. I'm going to highlight all the text because I know I'm going to want that to be bigger. So I'm going to just highlight it and then drag it and pull it. And I'm just moving it around here. So I'm going to put this here. Then I'm going to see if this works. Oh, that's not. There we go. Dragging again. Perfect. And I want to make sure all that's centered with it. So I'm going to grab all of this, and I think I'm just going to have to move it over a little bit to really, let's see. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller, just so it kind of lines up. Perfect. Okay, awesome. So I've got that. So that tells my people how the market's doing. Now I'm going to go grab some of those lifestyle content pieces because I think that's really helpful. And I know my people really like home maintenance tips. So I'm going to grab this Happy Spring. I think that's where I want to start next. And again, this is just where you're copying and pasting how you'd like and grabbing the elements that you want to include. So I think that's going to be a good breaker there. There we go. Put that right there. And then I'm going to go grab my home maintenance tip. So I like the way that it says spring is sprung, and then I'm in my home maintenance tip. So dragging, grabbing, Control C, popping over, Control V. And then just grabbing it. There. I'm going to click out of this and you move that text box over by itself. Perfect. Good. And I'm going to grab the tip and move that over a little bit. Perfect. And I think because now I'm here and I'm going to try to make as much room as I can and make sure that this element is in its own little space, I'm going to work with the alignment of this paragraph. So again, I'm clicked onto my text box here, and then I'm going to go up to my alignment. And then this one right here is probably aligned left. Yes, it's aligned left. That's center, align right, and justified. And I think justified is going to look really good in this space. It's going to look really clean. And I'm going to see what happens when I do this. Perfect. I'm going to make this just a little, well, no. Now this is just playing with it because I want it to be all, I don't want to start a new line with one word if at all possible. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that without taking out a word. Okay, that looks good. We're good there. And I'll bring this out just a little bit. There we go. Make this just a little bit larger so it extends out. So now this lines up with that. So again, in Canva, it's just all about clicking, dragging, moving it around, lining it up how you want it to be lined up. And I'm just going to move this down a little bit because it's encroaching on my arrows. Real estate word. All right, cool. Okay, so now I'm going to go grab this Around Town Fun Spring exhibit. A, because I want to go to this thing. B, it's a vertical and it's going to really fit well in the space I have, I think. So I grabbed, I'm going to do Control C, pop over, Control V. There it is. Yay. Okay, perfect. So now it's just a matter of making this fit well. And I think it's going to, I think that's the bottom of the photo. Yeah, it's not that much, but I think if we move this over there, bring this up a little bit, make sure that this is also aligned, justified, just so it all fits. I think that's going to look good. That's perfect. 11.5, 11.5. Those are the right font sizes. They match. Here's something that I wanted to note that it's a good example. So when I'm moving this around, you can see that when I'm moving it with my mouse, it kind of jumps pretty quickly from one spot to another. And maybe it's not where I want it to go. So I don't want it to move that much, but sometimes it just moves that much. Another way to do it is to click on an image and use the mouse, the arrow keys on your keyboard to move it around. Because when you see that, you can see it goes a lot, it goes like in tiny little jumps. So that's going to work really well for me in this space because I just needed it to move up a tiny bit. But I think that that looks really good. And I'm going to bring this over just a little bit because I don't want it. There we go. We have room, so I want to get it away from the edge. Perfect. Just a little bit, just to line it all up. Perfect. Okay. And now I have room for my contact information down here. So I'm just going to grab all that. Control C, pop over, Control V. All right, I know I'm gonna have to mess around with this, but that's not an issue. So I'm going to make this smaller right here. Perfect. And this is gonna be really large on their email newsletter. I mean, and they can zoom in and out of the image, but even if it's smaller, it's gonna look a lot larger once it's on their actual phone or desktop when they're looking at it, especially if they're looking at it on their phone. Okay. Just drag that in, and I'm just going to mess with the size of the font. I'm going to make that smaller so it fits that spot. Perfect. Bring this over. I'm going to make those smaller. I want that all on one line. Perfect. I'm just moving it. I can't. Sorry if my mouth is like open as I'm doing this. Whenever I'm working, I always notice my mouth is open. Okay, so now I'm going to take this. And I'm actually just going to only put my, let's see, I can put my phone number up here because I'm saying call or text me. So I'm going to move my phone number here. Cool. And this is your time to head out if you got the concept and you don't want to watch me mess around with this until this is perfect. But I mean, this is it. It's just working it, getting the elements over there and working it how you want to set it up. Remember to make those little lines and doing 0, 1, 2, 4. And again, is to make those little lines, little space ups. Perfect. I think that's cool. And then I'm going to, under here, just put my phone number, 402. Perfect. And awesome. Okay. And then it's ready to go. And then all I'm going to do is go up to the download. And I'm not going to do this as a PDF print. I'm going to do it as a PNG. And I'm going to download it. There it goes. And now I've got my April newsletter, which then I can put into an email and send it off. And that's it. All right. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let Audra know. Thanks so much. See you later.